So here we are then, the start of this particular journey. I'm going to speak up a bit because I think there'll probably be a lot of wind noise in this one. This is just the other side of that hedge. Would have been the old Stratton-on-Foss station railway crossing. The large building you can see on your left is the Golden Cross Inn, the original Golden Cross Inn, and that was there when, I believe that was there when the tramway was there. The building that looks as though it's got a white roof, but in actual fact that's reflected light. That's the station keeper master's house, original, that's still there with an extension on. And the station master would have also doubled up as the gatekeeper, obviously. We'll put a picture up now of the crossing in action. You can see a train just pulling out across the A429 Foss Way, which looks a little bit like a cart track, but there you go. That train is an ex-Midland South Western Junction railway locomotive. It's on what was for it its final rail tour with a bunch of enthusiasts on board, and it was laid on because that basically ended the production of that particular model of railway locomotive. And I think it was probably built by Doobs and Company in Glasgow. We'll have a look at the gates from the station end, and you'll notice, if you look there, on this next photo, the Golden Cross Inn is on the right, obviously, because it's looking from the station towards where I'm filming from. The gates actually, when the road was open, the gates actually crossed one another. They were on both sides of the road, obviously. They actually crossed one another because the gap across the road, across the Foss Way, was much wider than the gap across the rail bed. So it was double gated, but they crossed over each other when they were not being used. So that gives you some idea of the crossing. I'm going to make our way now, hopefully, up the old Ditchford cutting, which is behind me, heading in a westerly direction, and see if we can access any of that. I don't know, I'll try and show you the track bed. It's quite difficult to see actually, but it runs down behind those sheep. You can see it from further down. It's like a flat platform. It's all the way up there. In a westerly direction. Back a bit. And it disappears in those streets. That's actually, I believe, the first bit is an embankment. And then it goes into a reasonably deep cutting, but access I'm not sure about. We'll just have to go and have a look. And we seem to be on quite a wide embankment here. A bit difficult to move about in it, but there is access. Drops down through there. Very overgrown, of course. One or two dead sheep scattered around. Okay, that's interesting. Here, this is Ditchford cutting. I'm on my way up from Stratton-on-Foss station site. Bit of a job to get through this cutting, but I will persevere. I've just come across a bit of a retaining wall just there, out of interest. This is incredibly overgrown, but we'll see if we can make any progress. The view then, that looks to me as if it might be a drainage channel. It's definitely not a collapsed building, and it doesn't look like a retaining wall either. A lot of stone laid down the bank to the track bed. There's yet another view up the cutting. You see how overgrown it is. Bit of a problem to get through, but we'll persevere, see how far we can get. Another retaining wall on that side. Most of the cuttings on the railway when GWR took over, following a survey, they had to be reprofiled because the banks were too steep and there was a grave danger of landslip. Now we're getting somewhere. Very nice. Broad gauge rail post and strut. So another GWR standard fence. This is holding up pretty well as well. Some places it's there, some places it's completely disappeared. All the way down there. That's lovely. Quarter sawn sleepers. All the line wire's intact. Wanders off along there. Great stuff. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see that post and rail up there. There's actually a footpath cuts across there. I don't know where that comes from. Must be somewhere up on the B4035. But as I drove in, I couldn't see any footpath signs. Doesn't mean to say there isn't a footpath, of course. So there you are. Once you walk across here, that might be a shortcut to the railway. And from the steps then, I look west up the cutting, starting to taper out a little bit now, and I suspect very soon it's going to disappear altogether. We're just starting to lose the feature now as we get closer to the next road. You also notice that the railway fence has disappeared as well. So whether they didn't bother to fence that, I don't know. But there's nothing, not a post, no wire. Seems to have completely disappeared. And the cutting as was now is almost levelled out to up to ground level. It's completely disappeared just now. Just a very wide hedge. A notable gap in the track bed, so they can access from one field to the other. See the continuation just across there. We'll walk over there and have a look at the next interesting item. So the track bed now swings round to the right, and we've come out on the road from Darlingscott to Stratton on Foss. I'll just reposition the camera and we'll have a look at that rather delightful crossing cottage. Okay, that's a original crossing cottage, obviously with an extension on the left. I had a really nice chat to the lady that lives there. She is the fourth generation of the same family. Lived in that little crossing cottage since the railway opened. Her great grandmother applied for the post of crossing and gatekeeper with the Great Western Railway. She was successful, and the family moved in prior to the opening of the railway in 1889. The crossing cottage was passed down through the family. When the line closed in 1960, the current owner, I think it was this lady's mother. Yes, it was the lady's mother. She purchased the crossing cottage as was for the princely sum of £900, and the family have lived in there since the day the railway opened. Okay, we'll close that one down there then, and we'll press on up the road towards the B4035 and the next story. Okay, this particular site, which looks nothing more than an innocent farmyard, is in fact called by locals the landfill. And when the Great Western Railway navvies arrived to do upgrade work here in 1882, they came across the what is known as the tunnel. In actual fact, it's a railway bridge, a brick bridge, but the opening, the arch underneath it, is only, or was only, big enough to take a horse and a single tramway wagon. So they had to set to work, and over the next 5 years, in 1887, they built a rather magnificent red brick bridge, complete with a nice deep cutting, which extended on the other side of the bridge as well. So there you are. That's completely, obviously gone missing. There's nothing at all left of it. I'll just cross the main road if I can, and have a look at the other side at what was Tunnel Wharf. Wharf as in that's canal speak for a goods yard. I doubt there's anything left of that, even buildings, but we'll have a little look. So this is the other side of the upgraded railway bridge, as was. This flat area, I suspect, is all landfill, because the cutting would have extended on this side of the bridge as well. For how far, I don't know, but if you look down through there, you may not be able to see this. There's a house down there, there's buildings down there, and I suspect Tunnel Wharf was somewhere down where those buildings are now. I think there was, from what I've seen of an old map, there was like a shed or a bit of a warehouse thing on just on this side of the road, and then very little else apart from flat ground and sidings, presumably. So there we are. That's Tunnel Wharf, the road bridge tunnel, as they called it then, and the upgraded brand new railway bridge. And down behind the Tunnel Wharf site, heading in the direction of Longdon Road, you can see the new, not new, but the house that was built on the site of the old goods yard or wharf. And I'm just having a look round. I'm on quite a steep embankment. I can just zoom out again. Quite a steep embankment here. Here we are. Just basically having a look round. See what I can see. There's some old clay drainage pipe down there. It's probably got something to do with the railway. Ditch at the bottom. Let's go a bit further down and have a look and see if there's anything of interest. A bit wet this morning, a bit dodgy, but not getting about too bad. So, embankment goes on along there. Not seeing much of railway. Not seeing much in the way of railway at the moment. A bit of a rubbish tip there. What that is. Again, there's some iron railings there. Whether that's connected to railway or not, probably not. Concrete post, that might be. Probably going to have to go back on the top in a minute because it starts to get a bit grown in. On the opposite side of the embankment now, you don't go very far along here before you hit a major growth of elder and ivy and God knows what else. A lot of blackthorn in here. Seems to be very common on this railway. So I'm going to have to divert round this lot. And there's a broad gauge rail and a strut acting as a fence post buried in there under all that ivy. These posts seem to attract ivy for some reason. Look down there, some of the original eye bolts, and line wire still attached. There you go, boundary fence, Great Western Railway. And we've got a culvert under the road here, and that wall's rebuilt, so they've attempted to do it Great Western Railway style, I think, with a nice stone cap on each end. All rebuilt. I think the whole thing's rebuilt. I don't think I can actually get down in there because there's a deep ditch to my right as well. I'll just go over the top. See how much water is running down there. Yeah, that's going really well. That's all complete new build. And I'll bet that was originally railway. I don't know what particular stretch of water that is. It's off down in that direction. No idea. Still heading towards Longdon, and just here, you can see that appears to have been an access track or a road put in up to the track bed. Don't know what that was for. Loading stuff, offloading stuff. Don't know. Let's go and have a look up here then. Brambles in the way as usual. It's probably going to get a little bit windy now. Farther along then, suddenly got the remnants of the boundary fence on the other side. Caught sawn oak posts by the looks of it. A few line wires still intact. It goes all through that jungle there. And it's opened up briefly until we arrive at this point here. And there's a road or a track that cuts across the railway at 90 degrees. So there must have been an accommodation bridge here. And there's no doubt about that. It's getting awfully windy now, so I might have to stop this shoot. Got a nice section of intact railway boundary fence just here. Again, I'm walking up the Longdon Road towards Darlingscott. Big pool of water in there. There's been a lot of rain these last week or two. Very unsettled weather. Fence is still going though. Just carry on a little bit further. And the wooden posts and the line wires. Pick up the charge up the Longdon Road. Quite a lot of this still intact. I don't know what kind of state the posts are in. I expect they're all rotted off and it's just the line wires holding them up. Let's do a stability test. Yeah, that one's definitely rotted off. There you go. They don't last forever, but those line wires are definitely still holding it all up. Must have been some good wire. Oh, I've got one fatality there. That one's collapsed. And I don't know if you've noticed, the embankment's starting to taper a little bit. And we'll just go on a little bit further. Still got a fence gradually being swamped by trees and hedge. And there's that's an end post, raw gauge rail, strainer and strut, eye bolts, with a wooden post behind it for some reason. Perhaps that's put in for moral support. And then we've run out of fence, so it's stopped there for reasons unknown. And here we are, just about down to natural ground level at this point. There's a gated entrance coming up. I'm sure they just ran the rails across there. That's even if it was an entrance when the railway was in operation. So there we are. Stop there. Still on level ground then. And look at the size of that concrete post. There's a gate hook in the top. And a structure, that concrete structure on the bottom for digging it into the ground. That's definitely railway. You go to that amount of trouble with a post. Huge. So there must have been, there's another one there. There must have been a gate across that opening that we've just come by. Huge concrete posts. Interesting. So we're inside the railway fence now. Longdon Road's out there. And I'm heading in the direction of Longdon Road still. Let's see if I can get through here a little way. Sheet of rusty old corrugated tin there. There's your railway fence. Keeping us company. And this is an old obstacle course, this one. Limbo under that tree. And by the looks of things, having come recently off an embankment, we might now be going into a cutting. Let's just walk through here. That bit of earthwork there. Whether we can get right through here, I don't know. Got another broad gauge rail tie-off post here. Looking at all the line wires are still intact. So what they've done there is they've exhausted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rolls of plain wire. They've put a post in, tied the exhausted rolls off on this side, and on the other side started 8 new rolls of plain wire, and off they go again along there. Here we are then in the cutting. This isn't that deep a cutting, and by the looks of it, it's not the best of draining cuttings either. It's quite boggy in the middle of the track bed. So I'll have to watch my foot in here because I've not got my walking boots on. I've got a pair of trainers. So I'll have a wander along here for a bit. You can see anything? Little piece of plastic pipe there. That's a drain. That's not railway. Draining off that field, don't take it. We've got railway fences on both sides at the moment. I'm just looking where I'm going, not at the railway fences, because it's looks like we're getting puddles of water just ahead. So may not be going too far along here. It's got a little bit deeper, this cutting. I'll just take that off there so it don't take my eye out. Under there and under there. And, not seeing an awful lot of anything very much apart from puddles. Disappear under that one. At least you can access it a lot better than the embankment back there. That was a bloody joke. There we are. There'll be trap bramble there. Walk round that one. It's getting extremely windy out there. Fortunately, I think it's blowing over the top of the cutting, so you shouldn't get too much wind noise on the video, I hope. Tempt fate and step out into the middle to get over this one. There we are. With that bramble, possibly. And off that. Got it. guess inevitably, sooner or later it was all going to grow in, wasn't it? But yeah, worth a look. Find a lot, apart from railway fencing. So I think we'll stop this one just about here and go a little bit further down the road. I'm going to need to put up a satellite picture for this one. This is the site of the spur added in by the Great Western Railway Company just before the railway opened for steam, passenger and freight in 1889. It left the old tramway, or the railway line, somewhere across there, came across in a loop at this side of the farm. Apparently there was a 1 in 40 gradient on the Morton end, 2 very tight corners, and then it swung through there and then came into the station behind that fence. And somewhere just there was a tragic accident. The ganger of the permanent way ganger of the line, he was hit by a train coming from Morton Station and tragically killed. Here we are, the site of the spur that bypassed the old tramway and swung around through Longdon Station and back down to Shipston. Okay, we've gone slightly off script now. I'm just below Darlingscott Junction. Darlingscott Junction was where the original tramway branch line to SHIPSTON-ON-STOUR was built and opened in 1836. So just before the building, the house, the line would have forked. The right hand fork would have gone to Stratton on Foss and Morton in the Marsh, and the left hand fork would have gone to SHIPSTON-ON-STOUR. However, it's known that interest and enthusiasm for the tramway that ran from SHIPSTON-ON-STOUR to Stratford-on-Avon was very, very high. A lot of punters were very keen to have that reopened as a steam traction railway. So just after probably 1901, 1902, Great Western Railway commissioned a survey, a feasibility study, to see if what it would cost to run the line from Shipston to Stratford-on-Avon, and that lasted 2 years. Now, I've read 3 reports, very brief reports, that state that the Great Western Railway, while this survey was being carried out, were actually running steam locomotives down here and through to Ilmington Wharf, which is about a quarter of a mile down the road, and onward to Newbold On Stour, which is kind of, if you go from Ilmington Wharf and head straight north, you end up eventually on the A3400, and Newbold On Stour is on the A3400. So we know there was a wharf at Ilmington, there was a wharf at Newbold, and also lime kilns at Newbold. So as I say, these reports I've read state that up till about 1905, the Great Western Railway were running this line with steam locomotives to Newbold Wharf. Beyond that, the survey found it was impossible, it was impractical to run the line any further, because the old tramway follows the A3400 very, very closely. In fact, in places it runs along the verge, crosses the road from left to right, from right to left in several places, before it finally settles on the left hand side going into Stratford and runs out over the big red brick bridge into the canal basin. So I came up here, I'd say completely off script, but just to have a look exactly what was going on. Can't see anything that suggests, any evidence that suggests that there was a bona fide steam railway running up here, Great Western style. As I say, up through there is Darlingscott Junction, and we'll have a look at that, quick look at that, and I'll put a satellite picture up to go with it, just so you can see exactly what I've been talking about. Darlingscott Junction then. So the main tramway would have gone down to the right hand side of the house, come out between those that post and rail fence, across the road and off towards Stratton on Foss, Norton in the Marsh. Just turn around, walk down here, and through that gate is the direction of the branch line opened in 1836 that went to SHIPSTON-ON-STOUR.